Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how I use List Perfectly to push new items out to the different marketplaces that I sell on. This video will not be so concerned with how I get it into List Perfectly. I'll do that in another video later, but just how I get it from the List Perfectly catalog to the 7 marketplaces that I sell on. And it'll also be a good opportunity for you to see how each of the marketplaces works if it's a marketplace that you don't currently sell on. So as mentioned, for the purpose of this video, it's mainly going to be how I get the items from the List Perfectly catalog that you see here into the 7 marketplaces that I sell on. We will edit this item to get it ready to push out. So I do have templates set up. This is an item that I've sold similar ones to already. So I created a template that I can just go in and find. And it's going to populate everything with what I had already done for this type of item. So I'm also going to remove the backgrounds. I know some people don't like to do that. Some people do, but that's a discussion for another day. Although you can leave in the comments, so whether you remove backgrounds or not. So I just do a plain white background. We're going to select all, confirm, and that's going to go in and quickly remove all the backgrounds, get it ready to push out. And then all I need to do on this is go in and change just a couple of dates for these since it's exactly the same. They're all Central States Archaeological Journals. So we're going to change this to 93 and it's volume 40. And if this was a completely new listing, I would obviously be doing all this from scratch. Although I typically use ChatGPT, I have a script set up and it knows exactly how I like my listing. So I just go out, upload the pictures, and it brings back exactly what everything should say. And it does a really good job. I really don't have to edit too much. List Perfectly does have a built-in AI tool as well. And it does okay, but ChatGPT returns a lot more than the built-in tool does. So anyway, we'll go ahead and finish changing this. And that is all we'll have to do here. All this is right. The brand, I don't really put a color shade for these types of things. Or the condition notes are fine the way they were. And then the only thing I'll do is change this one keyword to archaeology, if I can spell it. That was 1993. So these are the keywords mainly used on Etsy. I think Depop and Macari may use keywords as well. My cost of goods sold is $1. I'm going to ask 18. The SKUs where I store it, and we'll go ahead and put it in bin A5 as well. Weight and package dimensions are fine. And everything should be ready to go. So we're just going to do save and close. And now this is ready to push out to the marketplaces. I could just click this button, but I usually go into the preview mode and then do it from here. That way, if I need to copy and paste anything, I already have this screen up, which you'll see in a minute when I do the publisher on eBay. So we'll go cross list. We're going to say Depop, eBay, Etsy, Facebook, Macari, Poshmark, and whatnot. And we just say copy. And List Perfectly does use tabs. I know some of the other cross-listing softwares do it within the software. I kind of like the tabs because then I can see exactly how it's going to look on that marketplace before it gets published rather than going after the fact and just verifying that everything came through. So List Perfectly is going to populate most everything on Depop. I do have to pick the category, so we'll do magazines. And then brand is fine as other. Condition, most everything I do used good. Vintage and pre-loves automatically populate on all my listings, and then I can go in and change age to 90s. And then I do free shipping on Depop. Actually do free shipping on Depop, eBay, Facebook, and Macari. So I'm going to add $8 because this will probably go Ground Advantage. I might could ship it medium mail, but I'm going to add $8 to the listing to cover shipping. I do worldwide shipping through Pirate Ship and using their whatever it's called, but it's the international shipping on Pirate Ship. And $28.99 is the 3-pound rate. So we'll leave that there, and then we just say post, and then we can go ahead and go to the next one. And then it comes up with this sell similar screen in eBay so that you can pre-populate a lot of those keywords. So we are going to change the Topic to archaeology, leave the author blank. This is where I was saying we need to populate the publisher. So we'll go back over here, close this, and just copy this to the clipboard. And then just paste that in there. And the subject's find special attributes. It is illustrated. And then we'll just continue with match. While that's loading, I'll go ahead and go to Etsy. We'll pick magazines, continue. I'll let that be loading. Then we go to Facebook. So Facebook fills in most everything too. Price is 26, condition good. I'm going to call this paper ephemera. I don't know that it really matters that much on Facebook, but then it'll come in and populate the material. I'll just go pick the date range to be 90 to 99. Then next. And I do local pickup and shipping on all my Facebook marketplace. And as I mentioned, I do free shipping. So I'm going to say use my own label. Shipping rate of 0, free shipping, update, next, and then publish. While that's publishing, we'll go back over here to eBay. And it should have loaded everything, which it did. We're going to say, so it picked the right category of antiquarian and collectible books. And we'll just go ahead and use the suggested item specifics for eBay. Just make sure there's no other ones we want to fill in. Year printed, we'll go ahead and do 1993. And it was done in the US. eBay's probably the most, I guess, intensive listing experience. If you haven't used eBay before, it's got the most to fill in, but List Perfectly does a pretty good job with its AI of picking most of these for you. Brings in the description. Here's the pricing. Once again, we're going to add $8 to cover the free shipping. I do set up minimum offers on eBay. I know some people don't do that, but that just keeps people from being able to send me lowball offers. So we'll go minimum offer of 18 on these. It goes in and populates my shipping policy, which is free shipping. I'm going to use Ground Advantage. Here's package weight. Now I will be able to use anything, so I could pick, UPS, FedEx. I could pick media mail. Just depends on where it's going. But this free shipping does give me a lot of flexibility in how I ship things. I don't promote things at first. I might come back and promote things later. Then we'll just say list it. And then we'll go over to Etsy and finish this listing out. It populates almost everything in Etsy. So we'll do $22. So Etsy, I do calculated shipping, but I just add $4 to my base price. Etsy, I tend to get a little more for each sale that I make. So I'm going to up the base price by 4, and then plus on top of that, the buyer will pay calculated shipping. Everything else as we come down through here gets populated. You do have to change the date if you want to. I don't know how much that's used in the search, but if I do know the date range, I'll always come in and set this. But it defaults to before 2007, which is the criteria for something to be vintage on Etsy. So we will go ahead and do that. Then everything else gets populated all the way down to my processing profile. I do everything in one day. And then my shipping option, since the buyer's paying, I'm going to go in and select media mail, which these don't have ads in them, so they should be okay to ship media mail. But if for some reason I want to ship something else, the buyer will have at least paid the media mail part, and then I could upgrade it to Ground Advantage and pay the difference if I choose to. It's going to populate the item weight, dimensions, my store section. Most of these types of things just go under collectibles, books. I'll put these under books. And then I do use Etsy ads, so I'll go ahead and turn that on. And then I just select the renewal option automatic and then publish. Next is Macari. And this is going to populate almost everything under Macari. A lot of times the category it picks, I don't necessarily like it. I'm going to put these under ephemera. And I know that is vintage and collectibles, paper ephemera, and then I'll just do other. And then the brand, it's going to put in whatever I put as the brand in List Perfectly. It doesn't find a match, so you can just click on it and it'll do that. Then I always just pick no brand. Almost nothing that I sell, since it's vintage antique, has a match for the brand in Macari. I'll pick good as the condition. Free shipping on Macari, so we'll add our $8 and then list. Then we'll go over to Poshmark. Poshmark, just like Etsy, I add $4 to it. And of course, the shipping's baked into Poshmark, so the buyer just automatically pays the shipping on top of whatever the listing price is. So go ahead and click done there. And then almost everything I sell on Poshmark, except for the occasional clothes that I may list, goes under home, other, none. Well, some things may go into home, accents, decor, but for just magazines, books, those types of things, I always put them here. You do have to select a condition, and then everything else is populated, and we'll just click next. I do share all my Poshmark listings to Pinterest, so we'll list. And then last but not least, whatnot. We'll put this in the ephemera category, and everything gets populated on whatnot except for the category and the condition. And then I just add $2 for that. Shipping is also baked into whatnot, kind of like Poshmark, although it is based on the weight versus just the flat rate. So this is 2 to 3 pounds, which is correct. And we'll just say publish. And then it'll go ahead and go through and get that added. And you'll notice it automatically closes the windows as things get listed. So this would close automatically in a second, but I'll go ahead and close it. Then if I close this window, notice now everything's listed. A nice thing in the List Perfectly catalog, if I want to go look at any of these listings that I created, I would just click here. That'll take me to that eBay listing we just created. Same thing with Macari or any of the other marketplaces. So that is how I use List Perfectly to push things out to these 7 marketplaces that I sell on. And I may do another video later of how I get things into the List Perfectly catalog. Thanks for watching.